And, I of course I got to ask, because it's, one of the greatest investments out there, and one of the greatest companies. What are some of the things that you've learned? And I know you've been on podcasts before, and this is, kind of a common question about, Eric, and kind of like what you saw in him, and how that deal happened. But maybe, to try to dig into something that, like, maybe, you haven't shared. I know that's a hard question, but, like, what are the things that you've learned from him that, you observe about him that will help you in pattern recognition for other founders? When you look at kind of and you invested a little bit later than you normally do in Zoom, right? Like, in terms
and
of
it was a big check. Yes.
Yeah. What was the check?
So it was a $20 million check.
It's a big check. It's a big check for
a Series A fund. It's a big check.
Just to put it in perspective, like, probably what, 2 or 3 times larger than your, like, what was your largest check before that?
So it was twice as big as our average check, and we got half the ownership that we typically get.
Yeah, which, man, you're putting yourself out there, right? Like, you're exposing yourself there in that kind of decision.
Yeah, and if you look at how the math worked out, it didn't matter. We just had to be an investor in that company. If you have that high level of conviction, then you just need to be an investor in that company, and you need to find the right deal. Yeah. And to your question about what I learned with Eric that I didn't know before, a lot of things, but one of the ones that comes to mind now is that there's no one size fits all when it comes to building a company. There's this general sense that if you're starting an enterprise company, you build it, and then you hire successful executives from other companies, someone who did great at, in our case, enterprise, like Salesforce, and then someone who did great at Box or even Dropbox or Google Enterprise, and then those people are going to create a ton of value. Eric never did that. His thinking was, these people were successful, so now they're not going to be hungry enough. They're going to be here just like, I'm the celebrity and everyone's going to be doing work for me. So he typically looked for, like, super high potential individuals who were working incredibly hard and had that chip on their shoulders, kind of what we were talking about before. Because then they're not doing this because they're celebrities. They just want to prove that they can excel. So if you look at the team, even when the company went public, they were not the traditional team that you would expect a company that's going public with those metrics. But everyone worked incredibly hard around the clock, no ego, just to get things done. And for me, that was a great lesson, because I believed that you had to go through this. Let's get the experienced people, because those are the ones that are going to get us to the next stage.
Yeah, and Eric's also an immigrant, right? Which is, yes, you can relate to, right? Like, there must have been some kind of affinity there.
So Eric and I connected a lot on the immigrant journey. Both of us were told that whatever we wanted to do couldn't be done. Eric, when he started Zoom, people told him it can't be done. You have all these massive companies out there. There's no need for a better solution. What's out there is good enough. Don't waste your time. I've been told that I can't get into venture because I have the Latino gene. And it's like, yeah, we're going to prove people wrong. So yeah, a lot of that immigrant mindset and journey came to play in us building that amazing friendship.